All right, all right. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the next installment of the Dorian Adams Motivation Zoom call podcast dis- forum discussion forum. Did I say it right? I said it backwards, huh? All right, it's out there now. Can't take it back. And yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming in. Welcome everybody. Um, and I just want to appreciate you for your time that you would consider diving into topics and issues, matters that may hit close to home for some, and just been making yourself available to listen to new information. I want to first, of course, invite the presence of the Creator, whoever. If you give him a name, that name. If you call him God, that name. I want to take this time to invite them in. Give us about a 10-second moment of silence to observe and invite that presence into your space and into the forum. All right. I don't even know if that was 10 seconds, but all right, y'all. Briefed everybody, sent the link out, the topic of the discussion today is self-talk. And I put that topic out there just basically having life present different situations to me recently that for me, I thought in some of those situations, man, 5 years ago, man, 10 years ago, I would have said this, I would have did that. And I thought about that and I said, well, why don't I think like that no more? Right? Why don't I respond to those situations like that no more? And what came up to me, what hit me was, it's my self-talk. It's what I give myself permission to do. And a lot of those permissions that I give myself is based on how I talk to myself, what I say in my head in the midst of a situation. And so I wanted the topic to kind of shine a light on if you have situations that, or self-talks that you can kind of conjure up that might have been different before, what your self-talks may be now that you may need to probably change. And, let's talk about it. Oh, y'all looking real aggressive over here.
Well, I guess I'll go first. Hi, everyone. I'm Rena.
Oh, hey, Rena.
Hey. Happy Friday. Unless, I don't know if anyone's out of the country, but yeah, happy Friday. I think this is a really interesting topic. And I can only, I guess, speak for myself, but I feel like I've observed this in other people. So maybe there'll be some common ground with this. But I think, or at least for myself, being younger, or when I was younger, like a kid and like naive, I think you weren't aware, or I wasn't aware of all the negative things that could even occur. And so I think it was easier to, well, just me personally, I think it was easier to maybe think more positively or maybe think more confidently about different things just out of ignorance, just based on maybe lack of exposure. Or for me, I grew up as an athlete. I was like always taller than other people. And so there's certain things that came easy to me from like an athletic standpoint in comparison to maybe other people. And so you just get so used to maybe operating within a bubble of naivety, and you get used to winning maybe easily. And you're not really challenged until you kind of grow your bubble and you get exposed to more things. And so I think for me, just being younger and maybe just out of naivety, self-talk was the default was positive. But I also probably attribute that to my parents and just even the the household I grew up in. But I think just getting older and becoming more challenged and becoming more aware of the negative things that could occur with different activities or different efforts. For me, that's when negative self-talk crept in, because I became more aware of, okay, well, not everything results in a positive outcome. Sometimes things result in more of a negative or challenged outcome. And so yeah, I think sometimes just as a kid you can be naive, and then just out of default you're optimistic, and then when you grow older life starts setting in, and things get real. You're just like, dang, like it's kind of tough in the world, and wow, there's a lot of things that could go wrong in different situations, and that could be discouraging in ways. But yeah, that's just something I've experienced, just kind of through, I don't know, growing older and just maturing through different things. But yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever like failed and that negatively impacted like how they viewed that same effort or activity moving forward. I've had that experience too, like where you, for example, like running track, like there was a time where I was like the second leg on a relay, and I basically messed up the pass. I messed up the pass to the third leg, and basically almost like completely just ruined it for my team. And fortunately, our fourth leg was like a beast. She was like, she ended up running it, at USC. She was really good, and she saved our team basically. But I just remember that was like traumatic, and like each time I would pass the baton after that, it's like, oh man, like the worst case scenario could happen versus, oh, everything's going to go fine. Like, nothing's going to go wrong. I'm going to make this pass. It's going to be, amazing kind of thing. So I don't know if anyone's experienced that, but.
Yeah, no, what I hear is that your self-talk changed. You didn't have a issue with confidence before the baton pass went bad. And
Well,
that shook stuff, that changed your self-talk, because now you was like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
so
like
your self-talk changed to I don't know, maybe. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's just one example. That's just one example. But yeah.
Yeah, it's
what I appreciate.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, after you. You first.
Okay, I appreciate you. And I apologize, you guys. This evening I'm kind of multitasking. That's why my face is not inside the camera. So I appreciate everyone. But what I appreciate about what you said is the environmental effect of your mindset and coming up in a positive set with the sports. And you can correct me anytime I'm wrong. So far as the family unit having a stableness that allowed you to stay in a positive. So yeah, we would say, this could happen, but you stay close to the positive out of it. And also what I hear you saying is that the experiences and more information coming in affected the self-talk, and that situation that you just gave about, experiencing that not dampened it, but it made you more self-aware and how you affect not only yourself now, because that strength, like you said, coming up as a youngster, playing the sports, is about me, but now on a team effect, your self-talk became more than just self. You added in those other elements. So I appreciate you seeing that. And I think a lot of times we don't have those safe boundaries to be able to express and to talk. So yeah, I appreciate you expressing that piece.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You just summed that up beautifully as well. I feel like you communicated what I said.
Thank you. Yeah, I think a lot of times self-talk for me, I came up doing violence prevention. So hearing other people's stories and understanding where they're coming from, we have to understand each other's experience. So like you said, like you as well, I came up in a positive family unit where I was allowed to express myself. So I didn't have to stay in my head. A lot of it was, expressed and talked out loud. Whereas in my experience now doing violence prevention, a lot of us are in our head, but reacting to our environment. And then thus the self-talk becomes, can I do it? Depending on, if James and John like me, you know what I'm saying? Those thoughts will come up into your head and kind of dictate the behaviors that come across. So self-talk, I think, is very important. And also the environmental situations that we're in to help us understand that even in the worst times, we have to stay close to the positiveness of uplifting ourselves and being encouraged, even when things go awry.
Mhm.
I appreciate that. I agree 100%. I think there's so much power in just what we tell ourselves. And
Yeah.
I mean, if we enter the world, or if we approach different situations thinking the worst of a situation or thinking of the worst of people, that can like influence our perception and even the outcome. Because, I don't know how many of us have like made up stories in our head, and we feed those stories. Like you've acted out a whole entire situation in your head that's not even in reality, but it influences what you actually do in real life and can negatively impact and can really hurt a situation. And so yeah, I appreciate what you're saying there.
Yeah, I just went through one of those a couple minutes ago. Just full disclosure here, we were on the phone and the phone broke up, and I was, self-talk, right? Oh, was it something I said, or was that intentional?
Yes.
And I guess God was just watching me, and told me, hey, let's just be neutral, see what happened versus getting defensive, But it's crazy how we can start telling ourselves stories, especially when we're talking about relationships, other people, all of that kind of stuff. There's something that you said, Sharonda, that just reminded me of just the concept of, I think you're talking about growing up and having an environment, and I just got the sense of like focus,
Yes.
And it's wild to me how whenever I'm very focused on a goal, on a sense of purpose, it's a lot easier to have positive self-talk when maybe that focus or that next goal or what have you, or that purpose isn't as clear. It's crazy how those demons start to come in. We do best, or at least I'm starting to learn that I do best on mission, right?
Yes.
Not sitting.
Yeah, and it goes to the intent. What is the intent? Because I heard you say that you were conducted that phone call, but your intent was good. So that natural positive talk to come in and say, God, well, hey, what happened there? And I think a lot of times we have to remember, what is our intent as we go forward, even in our self-talk. So if I know I'm not right in my head about doing something that I'm doing, I don't care how good your self-talk is, you're gonna mess up because of that intent.
Yeah, it's waiting to happen. Yeah. So I guess I'll jump in. I was listening to what you said, Raina. That was pretty powerful, because I have found myself in that situation a lot of times, and I went over it like thoroughly because of this. Like you said, you get in your head about XYZ. Like for me, I just given, for instance, I used to be in such a space that my self-talk was, just say pertaining to this person looked at me crazy. All right. So that's just setting the stage. Person looked at me crazy because of the space I was in, because of the state of mind I was in. First of all, the self-talk was, that person looked at me crazy. That's self-talk already. And then I snowballed that in my head to the point where I would take action. It was no telling where I went because of that initial self-talk, right? And this person could be totally having a bad day it might not have nothing to do with me, but because I played the tape the way I played it in my head, I answered the question of when I asked him, what the hell you looking at? I answered that question. I acted on his answer because he said, what you looking at back to me in my conversation in my head. And I played the tape all the way through. And guess what? I just skipped through all of the progressions of what our conversation was to going upside his head.
Mhm.
Need I say more? The thing about it is, and it's okay to laugh, the conversation never happened.
Real talk.
And so I just feel like it's so valuable to acknowledge where you're getting your self-talk from in the first place and why. Because I can have a self-talk that's been baked in for years and years and years and never question it until I see it affecting me negatively or for whatever reason. It just, at some point you say, man, I'm tired. Man, why am I tired? Every time this situation come up, I think this, like toxic situations. Like you could be in a toxic situation or you keep finding yourself in toxic situations. You got to rewind the tape and ask yourself, hey, why am I always in these situations? Because every time I get around this person, I say it's okay to do this. I say it's, so the permissions that I'm giving myself,
Mhm.
you know, let's go do X, Y, Z. And my like Reg said, my mission was to go to Walmart, right? But here's my buddy calling me halfway there. Hey man, meet me over here, such. That wasn't your mission. So I gave myself permission to get off track. Yeah, it's cool. It's gonna be fun. Whatever. So it's just like I said, the buildup of the self-talk in the first place, breaking that down for what it's worth and the value of that self-talk.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's I'm not approaching situations that could be of value to me because of my self-talk. I'm already discrediting myself. I'm already saying, man, I ain't gonna be able to get that job.
Yeah.
I'm already using my past or whatever. This is just me. I'm talking about from my situation because I've done it. I'm not gonna be able to get that job, right? Or here's another one. Let's get close to home. I'm not gonna be able to get that girl. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna be able to get that guy, right? Let's be real. Because we can ramble and do all of that. That's why I try to be specific about situations that happen with me, because that's close to home.
Right.
And I know I've been affected by it growth-wise as a man, mentally, emotionally, because of the self-talks that I've carried. Wasn't just carrying, it was like an albatross.
Mhm. So it sounds like your self-talk it came from the self-esteem. So self-esteem was a factor in your self-talk.
That was a factor, absolutely. It just one. Because I would say that it can ultimately affect any area of your life, right? So it's just identifying when those situations come up that you're using a self-talk that won't be conducive to a positive outcome or something that's going to uplift you. Just like saying I can't and I can. It's just like me saying I struggle with this. You just reinforced it. Your self-talk just allowed you to not have control over that same situation again. But it's the I got this, even though you're scared. So you know what I mean? So it can go on and on, but I'm gonna let y'all jump in there.
I think it's like it's very easy to self-sabotage, you know, when you're thinking, you're talking to yourself, you're kind of messing it up. But like, for example, this first podcast call that Dorian had, you know, you asked me to be on the call and I was thinking to myself, like, why me? Why am I going to be on this call for? But I had talked to you about just communication is just very difficult for me, being able to open up and have deeper conversations with people. And so being invited to that first call was like, it was so easy to just be like, why me? Why am I going to join in on this call? Like, so easy to be like, no, I'm not going to show up. But then turning that around and saying like, why the hell not me? Like, why shouldn't I? You know, like this is growth. This is how you get out of your comfort zone and grow. So it's like, you know, take a deep breath and just dive in and just go from there. And it's been fun. I mean, I love these conversations, these topics that we have in these meetings. So,
That's super beautiful. I appreciate you feeling comfortable to, you know, challenge yourself. I think a lot of times self-talk for me as well was sabotaging, especially when it came into learning new things and getting into other social arenas. But I think one of the things that helped build it was being a part of circles where people role modeled that. So I think that how I built my self-talk was being around positive environments that wasn't toxic or self-sabotaging. And it helped me build my self-talk as well.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Well, first off, shout out Rikashini.
Tasha, you can call me. Sorry.
Sorry. I was like, oh no. Well, yeah, shout out to you, like, yeah, getting out of your comfort zone and participating. Yeah, I think that's awesome. And Sharonda, what you said resonates so much.
Appreciate you.
I think so much like of like the seeds that are planted in our head, whether they're seeds that grow into, you know, positive self-talk or seeds that grow into negative self-talk, are heavily influenced by our environment. And you had mentioned earlier just growing up in a family unit that probably helped like grow and enhance maybe the positive seeds that were planted. And I talked to my husband about this, how like I feel really fortunate to have grown up in a family where I had both my parents in the house. You know, I saw a husband and wife, you know, unified and working hard together. And I always have to remind myself, well, not everyone has that opportunity to have those positive seeds planted, you know, in their childhood and at a young age. And so sometimes we have to supplement, or not even supplement, sometimes we have to seek out environments that help reinforce the thoughts that allow us to actually grow and prosper, because so much of us, I mean, we have different challenges, and maybe some of the challenges that, you know, each of us have had to overcome look completely different, but if you're in life, you're never going to be void of challenges. And, you know, we can either be in environments that kind of feel like the negativity, or we can be environments that encourage you to, pick yourself up, you know, encourage you to overcome different situations and, you know, just be a positive contributor, you know, to our society. And so, I think as adults, you know, it gets to a point where maybe you didn't come from the best upbringing, the best childhood, but you'd hope, like, to your point, Dorian, you'd hope that like you snap out of it, or you get to that breaking point where you're just dissatisfied. So therefore you seek out what you know will actually feed you and fuel you in the right direction. But not everyone has that breaking point, or maybe some people need to be interrupted in order to be reminded, hey, you're not living to your fullest potential. You're better. You can do better than that. And so it's almost like as a community, we kind of have to be in that mindset of, you know, looking out for each other, you know, giving each other the benefit of the doubt. Your story, Dorian, reminded me of I was in a Home Depot last week, and like I have my hair natural, and I turned the corner and there's this guy like of a different, you know, ethnic background, and he like made eye contact with me, and he kind of was like, I was so like astonished and taken aback. But I just, you know what, because I was starting from a neutral self-talk versus a negative. I just figure, oh, I know he's not like looking at me. I know I look good right now. So like, I don't know what's wrong with him.
Right.
I don't even know what to tell you. But at the same time, like,
What's
but
up?
if you're starting from like a negative self-talk and you're looking at the
Mhm.
world negatively, like
Yes.
it sabotages from being able to just like brush things off and like keep it pushing. So like I don't know if that guy looked at his phone, then like happened to turn the corner and see me and then like was responding to something in his head versus me in person. But it's like,
Right.
you know, so many people are impacted by other people's things that they have going on in their life, and it can knock you off, you know,
Yeah.
the rails in your own life and kind of, you know, just
But-
inhibit you from actually being able to progress and move on. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Beautifully
So
said.
watch this, Raymond. So an experience that I had that it was almost like an experiment in a way is that because of my constant self-talk and constantly trying to improve that, because I know if I improve that, I'm looking to self-improve. If I can shore up some of my weak spots, that negative self-talk or just not the appropriate self-talk will slow you down. And so working on that, I had a situation that happened that I kind of saw it about to happen, and I did the play the tape thing, and it was all negative, right? And I said, what if I say something totally not expected?
Mhm.
If the tape starts playing in the direction I'm playing it in, right? And I steeled myself and I said, that's what I'm gonna do. Because the response that I already had prepared for this potential situation was typical. And it involved at least being sassy with what I was gonna say in the situation, or, you know what I mean, aggressive, or stick my chest out, pump my, yeah, tell you what's about to be, right? So
Right.
at least my response at least incorporated those earmarks. But I said, I'm gonna do something or say something totally unexpected. I believe God stepped in that moment and said, I'm gonna show you what I can do.
Mhm.
But the situation hadn't even happened. So lo and behold, it was at a restaurant, and I was in the bathroom. I walked out of the bathroom, and the guy actually said, so it was a group of guys, and the guy said something. But guess what? Like I said, God stepped in. What he directed the guy to ask me was, hey, ain't you a football player? Shouldn't you be at the football game? Right?
Yeah.
And like I said, it was a potential situation, right? And guess what? I laughed on the inside at how
Mhm.
God moves.
Yeah.
And I had a cordial conversation with the guys, and that was it.
Beautiful.
Right.
And I said, look how your self-talk, look how you just stealing yourself to access another level of who you could be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look how it changes the world.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about me, it was about those guys too, because they were probably timidly fixing their mouth to say whatever they was gonna say to me, because they didn't know what this big old bodybuilding guy was gonna say.
Mhm.
God put an intention on their heart not to be malice with what they said to me, so we could have a cordial conversation if that's what was gonna be available.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably weren't
Whatever.
trying to use fighting words with you.
Right?
They're probably trying to, oh, how can I make this guy my friend real quick? You know what I mean?
Because of the curiosity and like, wow, yeah, that's real.
Right, but
Good
that's
way.
the thing. We walk around with these built up narratives in our head.
Yeah.
And as soon as if we don't arm ourselves with the thoughts and the actions that will avail us to come out of those situations on time, right? Then we doomed. And those situations will go exactly how the narrative says. Because not only is it that you thinking that way, the other person may potentially be thinking that way as well.
Right.
Yeah.
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 They may not be armed with conversations in a Dorian Adams motivation forum or a call, a person they can call
Yeah.
that can have these conversations.
Right.
We will perish at our own hand if we don't begin to really inspect what we're putting in our system. Like they say, well, you are what you eat.
True.
Yeah.
Keep eating that narrative, and you gonna look what you're gonna have a narrative baby.
Correct.
True.
All the food gonna be burnt up.
Yeah.
That's so real. It's interesting. I was kind of thinking about that, kind of food analogy, right? Because the real talk part is oftentimes there's a desire to be lazy right here for me, right? And not actually control self-talk. And, I just think back to scripture, right? We're told to hold every thought captive, right? In obedience to Christ. And it's a lot easier to not be disciplined and just put everything on your plate, right?
Real
For
talk.
me, the same way, sometimes, a lot of times, it's a lot easier to either act as if you don't have control over that, or just let it go, or be so undisciplined, not used to controlling. How are we actually directing our thoughts? How am I actually taking it captive? And going back to what Rena said, having people in our corner that can check us, that can remind us that, hey, not only is it possible to do that, it's your responsibility. You know what I'm saying? And not letting that slide, right? Knowing that there's just greater accountability we have. That's that's one that kind of hits close to home.
And that accountability is not only to yourself, first and foremost, I believe, because starting with self, then we can give others what we expect, but that accountability to form good conversations with others when we don't know their ethic or don't know their what's important to them, but that intent of stepping out on that and being a little bit vulnerable, I think also, because that self-talk is actually shared. Where you might be like, man, before I got into the conversation with you, I didn't know what you was gonna say. I thought you was gonna be heck of rude and not say nothing back.
Yeah.
And that's a part of your self-talk. And I think a part of our self-talk, we need to be a little vulnerable. And in that vulnerability, that means I'm okay with who I am. Just like sharing, the Lord with others. And other people may not be there, Christian or Muslim or what have you, but having that conversation to say, hey, there's a higher power. And I appreciate you acknowledging that there is, and there's no, quorum, putting that out there as an example in having those spiritual conversations with others, but making people feel comfortable in their skin to be able to, like Dorian said, do I even need to question my self-talk and begin to think in a different way so far as having those conversations with others?
Yeah. It's good.
Damn, keep talking.
Much love. I appreciate everybody. The little challenges on my end is I'm recently halfway through my credentialing program in counseling, and I'm rooted in violence prevention and doing peer-to-peer mediation. And at first I thought, oh, I can do conflict, I can counsel. What I'm learning is the conflict resolution piece is more interpersonal, meaning between people. Counseling is more intrapersonal, where it's about the person themselves. So it goes real connecting to the talk that we're having, because I'm counseling right now K through 12th, and a lot of my clients are middle school students that I'm seeing more who are challenged with thoughts, learned behavior, how to not project what they're conjuring up in their head. So this talk here is going to help me go back in and just have open-ended questions for the young people to begin to, look over their environment and what they're going through and how it's affecting them. Me not giving them advice or telling them what to do, but just that air to self-monitor and hear themselves and help them to understand that that's associated with their self-talk. So I appreciate everybody.
Mhm.
Where are you located? Like, where are you doing your training?
I'm at University of Massachusetts.
Oh, you're on the East Coast.
Well, I'm online. I'm here
Oh,
in
okay.
Sacramento.
Oh,
Beautiful.
cool. Okay.
Professor is awesome. But what I think that I'm a good code switcher, meaning taking content from something else and applying it. So that's what I meant by crises management, so far as violence prevention, students getting into conflicts with each other, and now conflicts within the self. And that's where I think I'm humbled, because being grounded in conflict mediation from a young age, I was trained as a mediator at 14. And now 20 years later, I'm able to utilize that and help people understand and see their own behaviors. Once again, not telling them what to do, but wow, this is what I'm doing that I don't like. Now, how do I change that? And that's coming from our conversations. I got to change the way I'm thinking. I got to change how I feel about myself. I have to change the environment that I'm going into that were comfort zones. But if I am going to have more positive self-talk, I have to look at those things and the environmental factors that go into it. Yeah, we got to be stronger than our environment. I heard that a lot growing up. How can you be when that's where you are all the time and you're not getting those support mechanisms to help you be stronger than your environment?
Wow. Yeah. I was just going to
So-
ask you, what do you think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dorian.
I want to hear that question.
Oh, I was going to ask, and hopefully this isn't too off topic, but like, especially just being in that environment where you're with like youngsters, you're with,
Yes.
people who are still very much in those key developmental years. I mean, for those kids who aren't maybe starting off from an environment where they are positively reinforced and they are taught positive self-talk, maybe they don't have those examples in their household or in their family.
Yeah.
Like, what have you found to kind of create that impact, like during the time you have them, to try to potentially outweigh maybe what they're not getting, in their normative environment?
Appreciate that question. I think it's simplistic, where it's consistency, being able to set a schedule where those young people can access me in order to vent those situations that are going on. And once again, the biggest part of being a counselor, we don't give advice and we don't tell them what to do. So being a source of an outlet, making that outlet consistent for them, and then remembering that each age group in a counseling setting needs certain norms. And one of the norms I try to bring back is fun for the young people. So I try to use, the gentleman's name is William Glacier, and he has the reality theory about what people need in order to, develop in a certain way. And it's a short form where it says, what do you want? What are you doing to get what you want? You evaluate that, and then you make a plan. And that has helped me to free up me saying, "Ooh, I feel you. Oh yeah, I used to do that." Because in conversations, we'll think about ourselves and then, come with a response. Having that theory has helped me to stay away from that. So I appreciate your question. So it's consistency, remembering to make sure that they have fun, and then having that thought process where I'm allowed to validate what they're saying versus me saying, try this, try that. Did you think about that? And those steps have really helped me to sharpen my skills on actually counseling young people and not being someone that's advising them, because they can get connected to who you are and you can influence them because they see how courageous you are, or how, building that relationship, and they think that you're cool. I want to remind them that this is not about me. It's about you and your time and helping you develop who you are and hearing yourself. So I appreciate that question.
That's awesome.
Let me throw one out there for the group. Because no, and not to cut short or any of the feedback. Feel like we always do, it just grows organically. You know what I mean? If we would just keep going.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask anybody who wants to chime in on this, where or what's at least one area of your life, one thing self-talk that you have currently that you, I guess either because of this conversation or, you know what I mean, that you can identify that you would want to make an adjustment to, and what would you change it to? So we're going to be specific. Because the self-talk that you embrace is going to determine a potential outcome of whatever the situation is. It's going, you know, it's a higher percentage of it going this way versus how it's going now.
Yeah, but I feel like I don't want to take an
Me too.
opportunity from someone else to
Yeah.
jump
dive
in
in.
there.
Much
who?
love. Me too.
Is you calling out Tasha?
Oh, I was not calling out Tasha, but do you want me to call her out? All right, Tasha, I'm tagging you.
Oh,
Speaking of, it looks like you guys have a trio going on there.
I'm
I know.
so sorry. My sisters are a hot mess.
Oh my goodness. I thought you guys were in 3 different states, and then you guys are hilarious. All right.
I'm
it's
sorry.
like the people in the news room when they be talking to the person sitting right there, and it look like they're in another pet. Yeah. What you got,
that
Tasha?
was the intention, was to be separated, but you know. All right, Dorian has a question for you.
Oh, for me?
Yeah, go Dorian.
So I hadn't heard anything from you before, but the question would be like, what is a self-talk that you have right now that you feel like you may want to revise or just adapt a whole new self-talk to replace it for
let me
your
ask.
future?
I'm gonna answer for her because she's not even ready.
What you got?
I would say my self-talk is to be more kind because like you were saying, I feel like, first of all, S3 right here. Okay, look, can I give you a little background before I answer your question?
Oh God.
It's all yours. Let's go.
Like I used to be so aggressive and I would like handle things how I felt like I should be handling things. And surprisingly, like S3, we haven't even really got together in 14 years. Like this is our first time we can actually say like, we can sit down together and have drinks and eat and like be okay because we all had our own like opinion or like way that we wanted to live our life. And I just feel like being kind, like now I think about everything I do before I do it, but it's always like a mental thing. Like you don't know what people are going through. Cause I know I go through a lot of things and I know a lot of the times I try to hide it with a smile, but not everybody could do that. And instead of getting upset and reacting to it, I just feel like you just need to be kind because you just don't even know.
I think that's
So that-
our thing though. It's like we smile a lot, like going through the
Yeah.
pain, like no one would be able to tell that we're going through something because we're always like happy and smiling.
And our like background, our dad's Indian, so he was hecka strict. Our mom is Tongan, she barely spoke English. We grew up in the hood
Yeah.
and our family's like racist. We're not racist
Oh my God.
because my husband's Black, but I'm just saying, really
That's
though,
Yeah.
being honest, it's like a mix of stuff that we had to deal with. And then it's like, that makes you hecka angry. Like, I don't know. I just think if you be kind and like be mindful of people's mental health and what they're going through, things can.
But homegirl on that one, like for real, it's so powerful that you said that. Cause that helped me bring to the forefront what you said was my story too. A lot of the stuff, the self-talking stuff that I had growing up, and even as a man, was based on a survival mechanism.
Right.
I had to do that. I ain't taking it back. And I'm not saying that I don't wish I could, it would have been different. But if I didn't do that, I may have not survived.
Right.
Right. But here's the deal.
Squeeze it.
God put his thumb on the scale and said, dude, that is not who you really are. But if you seek more, it's available for you. But just like you said, with being kind, you gotta mean that shit.
No, for
You
real.
can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't half-ass say, I want more and be faking it.
Mhm,
Because
right.
the temptation, you're gonna be tempted. You're gonna be tested
I
about
was
what you
gonna
say
you're
you
gonna be
want,
tested.
right? So that's just facts. And I love how you put it because it was eloquent because I totally understood it,
Yeah.
right? But we gotta mean it straight up, you know. And then when you get to the point, it's almost like with anything else in life. If I know, I believe we talked about this before on another call. Like you have that friend who just, you know how they is. They loud, they crazy, they whatever, and you can't change them, right? At some point, when you become that version of yourself that you want to be, it's going to be easy because people are going to eventually get to it. They're going, I mean, they're going to conform to who you are because they know it's you.
Right.
Right. But it's going to take a little bit of struggle and you having to mean it before them to get it.
Right.
Yeah. What I appreciate, am I cutting you off, Dorian?
Go for it. Go for it.
Much love. What I appreciate about what you said was the cultural factors that went into you looking at your self-talk and understanding that all those things affected being stern, being a leader, being someone who's outspoken and courageous, that the family dynamic has a lot and a heavy influence. And sometimes we can become codependent to that because we love and want our families to be together. And I experienced that with my family. So I just want to appreciate you being able to see those things and being comfortable because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, if you were not comfortable with who you are, where you're coming from, it wouldn't have been easy to even identify the need to be more kind. But because you have that grounding and that togetherness and that want, like Dorian said, it becomes natural and it becomes easy to do it. And it becomes a way of life versus something I think I need to do. And it becomes natural. You're on a beautiful path. I appreciate you feeling comfortable to express that.
And for me, I just want to say something. I just take myself, I take myself out of negative situations and, I take myself away from negativity now. I used to hang out with a whole bunch of people and now I just have a smaller group because people hold you down, they let you down. You could be there for people and, they just, I feel like I'm so happy right now, just, having a smaller group, like just being judged, an example, I always grew up, like I've always been a big girl all my life. And, in my family, like people would tell me like, oh, you have a pretty face, but you're so fat, you need to lose weight. And just like, don't talk like that, the negativity. And I'm at that point, I'm going to be 40 this year and I'm happily married. I'm living life, doing what I gotta do. So I just don't need those people in my life. That's gonna hold me down and hold me back. So
yeah, we probably have like a silver spoon-fed life, but we didn't have the communication or the understanding or the unconditional love. I feel like the love was under conditions. Like she for sure, we all had our little what's it called? She was the bad one. Always in her own world. I was the little ghetto one that didn't listen to anybody. Like we all had our stuff. So now for us to be where we're at, and we're still growing, and we still have room to grow, and we're still learning and stuff. I feel like it's a process. It's a process. You have to like dig deep, and now we have uncomfortable conversations and try to find where like the animosity or where the hurt or stuff comes from. Before we couldn't do that. We couldn't even talk on the phone for 5 minutes. I'm still surprised we're all right here right now.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Absolutely. And and they, like they said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So
Mhm.
those situations and conversations might have been available at different times when one person or the other person wasn't ready. But as you can see, all three of y'all together right now. And so that's just a testament to that coming together and being, it's real. It can happen.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
love you guys'
that's
self-talk.
Oh,
No, I was
okay.
just saying, I love you guys' self-talk and how it came together.
Mhm.
Compliment.
All right, so we're gonna man, I appreciate all y'all.
That's real.
Well, I want to step on Reg's big toe one time because we want to kind of keep it concise in a sense that we can go forever and ever. You know what I mean? And I want to respect y'all time. I know it's a Friday night, and but Reg, where you at?
Self-talk, I need to change here. The big thing for me right now is just having a daily sense of urgency. That's the big thing. Just having that daily sense of urgency versus saying, hey, I could do that tomorrow, or later is better. But attacking these daily disciplines, health, spiritually, business wise, I need to be strong in those areas. And the self-talk would be now and today is when that gets done, not tomorrow. So that's the big one for me right now.
Tasha, you got one? Well, I picked you already. I stepped on your toes.
I mean, right now I'm on my fitness journey, so I know like a lot of times I get tempted to just be lazy about my day. With my situation right now, I'm barely getting enough sleep and everything. And so it's just really easy to be like, oh, I'm too tired today, I'm not gonna work out, or I'm just gonna go and eat, kind of just get off my plan and whatnot. But I would say like for me, what's helping is like making sure to listen to like the personal development videos, positive affirmations. That's something I did with my kids a lot as well, is like, making sure that we're talking to ourselves with love and respect, filling our cup on a daily basis. So like, I do tend to stray off a little bit, but I know like if I pull up a video, it could be one of Dorian's motivation video, it could be Tony Robbins, whoever. It's just, it amps me back up and gets me back on track. So it's like, I know what I need to get back on track. It's just, making sure to stick with it. But I would say, yeah, the self-talk when it comes to the fitness area.
Right. Oh man. That's
Yeah.
so powerful, man. And that's why a lot of, and too, when I present the topic, I love to follow with the disclaimer that let it be your story.
Right.
Because I'm gonna tell you something about hearing your personal story. It's what's the word for unmistakable, right? It's not, you know what I mean? It's like when you hear somebody sharing the truth about them, it has earmarks of, that you just can't ignore as the truth. Even though it might not be your truth, even though you might not have went through it, you can tell, right? For me, guys, I'm in a space, and I'm just be 100 with y'all. Is it okay if I be 100? Is it okay if I live to be 100? Let's go.
Solid.
Here we are. I don't want to be a centurion too. That's real talk.
Oh man. Where I'm at, guys, is that urgency is a resounding theme right now. Reggie said, I've been on a, I do not have no time to waste. That's been my self-talk lately.
Mhm.
And me and Reg, we didn't talk about this before. So just so y'all know, this is just how crazy, like I said, these conversations come together organically, and it shows that people are really seeking another level, trying to expand and be the best version of themselves that they can be. And it just so happens that we all connect. I feel like it's God putting his thumb on the scale once again. But
Yes.
along with being on a I don't have time to waste thing, another thing that I'm really having a strong self-talk with myself is about seeing God in everybody,
Bless it.
right? I did a video called Your Opinion Matters, when I talk about how we can have such a strong difference of opinion because of the fact that we don't sing the same music when it comes to what religion we believe or what doctrine you follow and I follow. If you follow Buddha and I follow Islam, and you know what I mean? Now we bitter blood enemies. What? Right? And so
Mhm.
I just go super zoomed out and look at the fact that God created all of us. We're the ones creating the distraction and the dissension
Yeah.
amongst each other because of the narratives that's at play. And if I fall into this group of people or this body of politics, me and you, we can't see eye to eye.
Mhm.
But if I need a blood transfusion
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
and my life is on the line,
Yeah.
I might kind of relent on that stance. So I'm just really trying to I'm not going to say trying, because trying is a self-talk. I'm really leaning into embracing that with each and every encounter as I'm talking to somebody or I'm dealing with somebody, and just carrying that with me, because I feel like that's the ultimate place we're going. No matter what we're doing in life, we working, we coming, we going, we driving in the car, we flipping people off because they cut us off. Man, you got to remember that you're now removing God from the situation and saying, I can treat this person like this because they cut me off in traffic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's just about being next level sincere about what you believe in
Yeah.
and where you're really doing, right?
Mhm.
And finding a way that's gonna get you there.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I want to thank you guys for allowing me to invite God into the conversation,
Bless it.
because he was with me when I got here.
Yeah.
So I don't know what y'all feel about that, but now it's too late.
Yeah.
But
All right.
I just want to decree over everybody that's in earshot of this conversation that your life be affected in ways that you never witnessed before.
Bless it. Yes.
Let your life be affected moving forward in ways that you never witnessed before, and let you receive those movements and undulations and those pitches of different pitches of life to affect you. Let it affect you, because it's meaning behind those changes. It's meaning behind those new situations and scenes that you're about to see.
Yeah.
And just remember, I said that, but don't give me the credit, give it to God.
Yes.
Thank y'all for being here, man. I'll catch
Appreciate it.
y'all. It's gonna be some one-on-ones. All right.
Thanks for putting this together, and thanks for having us. This is really
Yes. And it was beautiful to meet everybody.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Next
too.
time we'll see each other, and my face will be inside the Zoom. But I appreciate everybody and what you shared, and I look forward to taking this and applying it into the work that I do, so that we can help young people begin to free themselves as well. Appreciate you, Dorian.
Yep. But the Harley mask was dope, though. The Harley mask.
Yeah, I was very mesmerized by your eyes.
Yes, I'm a rider. I'm a Harley girl. Yes. Much love.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna tap. So
Thank
I'll
you,
catch
everyone.
everybody on some one-on-ones
Okay.
in the week.
In a
Have a
moment.
good weekend.
All right,
you
bye,
guys
you
be
guys. Have a good
blessed.
weekend. Take
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Mm.